Thank you, Larissa. We're recording. We're continuing into the emotional part of mindset or attitude. Just to review, we just finished changing red storylines to green in the last session. And so now my inquiry is, if you think about your green storyline, what emotions come up for you that would be helpful? Larissa?
Is it a question to the group for us to respond?
Yeah, but normally popcorn style, but since you're all sitting there in silence, I'm going to call on you. By the way,
Sure.
you can always pass.
No, it's just it's a great way to express my love and appreciation for group. I feel genuinely grateful for being included in this group and in my work. I'm always I don't take things for granted, and I really genuinely authentically appreciate being part of the group that I'm working with. So including this group. So thank you.
That's really good. But what I'd like you to do is get in this process of the context shifting and think about the green storyline you wrote, hopefully, and in the context of the situation, what emotion are you now feeling that's going to help you with the situation? Does everybody remember the situation? I can bring it back up.
Yeah, I think your summary was probably the best. It's others fail to acknowledge my expertise and work collaboratively with me to address shared interests.
So we had a green storyline to help you move through that, hopefully, in the process.
My green storyline that I just briefly shared with you still works in this in the same situation, because whenever I had feelings related to mad or sad or scared, any of those emotions, just what helped me to resolve this is to really step aside and really think things through, and just really put on as a first priority on my sort of mindset list is how grateful I am to be part of that group to begin with. Yes, there might maybe some problems, but I'm still my starting point and my end point is being grateful for the opportunity.
Gratitude is a wonderful mindset. Good. Anybody else want to add something?
Yeah, can I go?
Yes, sure. Please.
Yeah, can I go?
Oh, hi, Nico.
I do have a constant. I hope you can hear me because unstable connection.
Yep.
My constant challenge is to stay in this space that I've identified, which I call happiness and fun, and I want to enjoy. But there's this constant onslaught of pressure and deadlines and stress creating stuff. Right. So that brings in sometimes the other red line, and it's a constant awareness of this is like a ball game. This is where I want to be. This is the independent space I've created, but there's a constant onslaught. I'm very much aware. Sometimes there's a mad, sad, scared, whatever. It rolls.
Okay, good.
It's created an awareness and a sensitivity for the ball game, if I can call it that.
Very good.
So, Charlie, this is Tanya. I finally got on my phone. It's the only way I could get a stable connection. So I apologize to the group for being late, and I hope I didn't hold you up. For me, like the empowering.
You have to explain what T-Daddy means. You have to explain T-Daddy means. I mean, really curious.
I didn't realize it would log me in as that, but I will when we're done. If we don't have time, we'll do it on Saturday. But for me, it's almost like a process flow. It's the gratitude, like Larissa said, for the opportunity to do the work and be in the position to do that work. But then it's like, okay, but there's this unfortunate reality of somehow other things are getting in the way. So maybe it's about seeking understanding. We talked last time about the assumptions that we're making about other people's behavior and what's behind it.
Good, yeah.
It's the seeking
Nice.
of understanding of other people's challenges, and then to express that appreciation for them and the empathy for what they're going through. That is how I had thought about kind of working through replacing the green story or red storyline with the green.
Good, very good. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Charlie,
Yes.
maybe if I can add something.
Hi.
Well, for me, I'm a type of a lifelong learner, so I always try when in the thickest of those situations, I try to think about what can be learned in this scenario. So what is there? So, okay, how did we, it's a difficult situation. Well, how did we get there? What did I do that I perhaps need to change next time? And what is the path forward? So that's something that I always try to bring
Good,
at the
nice.
forefront to bring me up from these negative emotions.
Nice. Thank you. Good.
So Charlie, I'm sensing a little bit of a chicken and the egg problem. It kind of, and I think it's part of the maybe tool set and perspective is because I'll share a separate story here, but I'll try to get this thought out. Is like sometimes the emotion will help you find the storyline, and sometimes the storyline will help you find the emotion. So I remember last week we talked about because my red story was these people are idiots, don't know what they're doing.
No, that's the truth.
Cause frustration, right? Thank you. Which caused frustration and anger, right? And
Yeah.
so in that scenario, your storyline of I can either I'm going to give them my knowledge, and they can, if they don't take it, that's not on me. The other part of that, is what is going on for these people. So that's the storyline of what is going on for these people is going to help me help them, and that then leads to the emotions. So in that case, those storylines were helping me find the emotion.
Good.
But I think if I can't find the storyline, like I wasn't last week because I was in the anger, it was surprising how much of you, how little your brain works when you're mad. So I think in that case, it's what I'm seeing as I watch other people kind of process things is that if I can't find the storyline, try to find the emotion, because that will then hopefully lead me to that storyline.
Good. Their interplay is the deal. Yeah.
Right.
I made it very linear to make it straightforward, but
makes sense. Yeah.
Definitely an interplay. Good.
Yeah.
Good insight. Okay. Very good work, folks. Thank you. So we're going to get into a section that many people find they really like, this innate personality piece, who we are at birth. And so I'm always interested in what we can do with the material. It's always about a behavior and a result. And what you can learn from this is how to select the right job for yourself, how to build effective teams, and how to communicate with others, meet them where they are. And so the personality foundations, we're going to help you understand the logic behind this, the framework, which I think is very beautiful and very elegant, and came from Carl Jung. It wasn't, the idea was not mine. A very short quiz can help you identify your innate foundation, look at applications. What you're going to find is that you can determine someone's color, their personality foundation, in only a few minutes. And I could probably make a reasonable guess about most of yours already. And you're going to watch film clips, and I don't know any other system that can do this, where you can watch something for 2 or 3 minutes and say, oh, I get who they are. And then I'm going to explain, I talked early on about my effort to take these, the things to do from business books and put them on the wall, and why that failed. I'll show you why that is. Just explain that phenomenon to me. And of course, don't forget your agreement to focus on you changing you. So go ahead and write your name on your workbook cover someplace. Then put your pen or pencil in your other hand and write your name again. What did you notice? More difficult?
Takes a lot longer.
Did anyone's name get more legible with the other hand?
Yeah, the result is pretty poor.
So the question is your preference of handedness, is it innate? Is it present at birth? The answer is, I think it is. And there's lots of research, including recent DNA analysis, that we have that. So we're born with an innate preference to be right-handed or left-handed, most of us right-handed. And there are people who are ambidextrous, but almost without exception, as far as I know, there are people who were born left-handed and forced, and we've talked about this earlier, by schools or whatever, to use their other hand. So we all use both hands, but any fine motor task, I have a preference using my right hand, and our personality is the same way. I have a place I like to go in the 4 personalities when something gets vexing, but it's very important to be able to use the other 3 because we need all 4, just like we need 2 hands. You with me so far? Making sense? I want you to think about this with binary tech terminology. What I'm talking about here is, if you ask me my handedness, I don't say I'm 60% right-handed, 40% left-handed. I say I'm right-handed. And I want you to do the same thing. Don't fall into the trap of making percentages about this. We're looking for the place that's most natural for you. So can you believe this is present at birth, just like handedness? I want to argue that it is, and Jung believed that. So there are 2 ways to decide. Emotional deciding, which about half the population prefers. What I noticed about this is emotional deciders take events very personally. By the way, during this time frame, I was doing a lot of consulting work, particularly for TRW proposal teams, and they were kind of my laboratory. I learned from watching them. And so the clients who were emotional deciders, when something went wrong, boy, it'd really kick them in the gut. They'd be very angry and frustrated at management. They took it really hard. The logical deciders just said, so what? It's management, and shrugged it and went on. I was strategic advisor to the dean of the business school, who was a relating, including personality. He used to start faculty meetings saying, I want results we can all feel good about. My blue brain said, what's that got to do with it? So that's the yellow writ large, emotional decider writ large. So imagine you've been robbed. So, and you got 2 friends, one's an emotional decider, one's a logical decider. The emotional decider might say, are you okay? Were you injured? How are you feeling? How can I comfort you? I feel so sad about this. The logical decider might say, what did they take? Are you insured? How'd they get in? Can you replace things? Well, these things happen. Can you see the difference? In information, there's 2 choices: intuitors, who are insightful, scattered, creative, big picture perspective. And I may have talked about this book about the firefighters, one of my favorite examples of what these firefighters went into this room and the roof was on fire, and they're highly experienced guys said, get out of here now. And they couldn't name what the reasoning was, but they convinced people to leave. And then a few minutes later, the floor fell in. So I think intuition is a imprecise integration of past experience. I am an overdone intuitor. That's my main function by far. And I used to sit in my office every morning. I had a 15-minute staff meeting, and I'd tell people, made decisions about certain things. And I had a very a censor deputy who I respected, another physicist. He'd say, Charlie, how did you come up with that? And I said, isn't it obvious? And he'd say, no. And I'd go through and I explain it step by step, make that up as I went. When I got through, it was always a little bit different. So the intuition is fast, And that worked very well in a headquarters political environment, but imprecise. The sensors are observant, organized, detail-oriented, and these are fundamentally different ways of different kinds of information. For example, if you ask the intuitor to describe an apple, they might say, well, it's a red fruit, or it might be a green fruit. It could be an orange fruit, roughly spherical, or it's something that grows on a tree, or it's a crab apple, or it's a computer, or it's New York City. The sensor might say, well, it's got smooth skin, spotted red, roughly spherical, crunchy, tart, and tasty. So I don't know any way to make any of these test instruments that don't require you to imagine a context to answer the questions. And the two obvious choices are how you are at home and how you are at work. And they might be very different because the social context in each case might be very different. Businesses tend to be orange, homes tend to be green. So pick one or the other. And I'm going to ask you, you might get a better signal if you think about how you were early in life. And this comes from young. Your job early in life is to build your personality on your innate foundation and develop the rest later in life. And if you're in your 40s or 50s, you might be in a place called a midlife crisis, and it often involves buying a new car. And the choices are going to be difficult, so pick which one is more true. And do this quickly. The more you ruminate about this, the more your brain is trying to figure out who you want to be, rather than who you really are. So it's a very simple test, just a few questions. And just to give you an example, both the emotional decider and logical decider both value harmony. But to the emotional decider, it's intrinsically valuable. To the logical decider, it's valuable, but it's a means to an end, to a solution. So go ahead and take the test and put one check on one side or the other and total the scores, and don't worry about the totals. So go ahead and do that now. If you need more time, raise your hand. Okay. Okay. So what you want to do is transfer your circle choices to one of these four diagrams. For example, if you had a majority score on intuitive and emotional, that means you've got a green cultivating personality. Majority score is emotional and sensed, including intuitive and logical visioning. These instructions are for me doing large group using Zoom, doing this as a group. Can everybody do this? Everybody understand this? Okay. So homework assignment, I'm gonna ask you to go do this with your friend or spouse sometime this week. This normally be the next day. And two reasons for doing this. One is that you will learn the material by explaining it to someone else. And secondly, you might understand a whole lot about your relationship when you see that you're anchored in different places. So which two personalities do you think could get along the easiest? Green and yellow, both emotional deciders, and yellows are by definition easy to get along with. That they're relational. Which you think are the most problematic?
Orange and blue.
Blue.
Actually, orange and green, the diagonals are the toughest. So, orange and green. Nat's laughing about something here.
Because Tanya said blue and she knows I'm a blue. So
Okay. Well, blue. My wife and I are both deep blue. That has its own set of problems. We're argumentative about everything.
You don't say.
If I say it's a nice day, she'll say, well, just now, but maybe not later. I mean, this contrariness about everything. And once you understand where it's coming from, you can kind of have some humor with it. I've saved half a dozen, at least, marriages of oranges and greens who suddenly got it. My partner's not crazy, they're just different. So I'm gonna have to leave now and turn you over to Larissa. And I think there's a way to give you the control, Larissa, but I'm not sure how to do it. If I just leave, maybe that'll give me an opportunity.
What you need to do, there are 3 dots on, if you will go see my picture
Yep.
or your picture, just 3 dots.
Oh, I got it. Yep.
And it says make a host. If you will make me a host, I will end session on time.
Yep.
I will have a right to do it.
Make host. Good. Okay. Thank you
Have a
all.
Have a
Thanks.
great physical. Thank you.
I'll see you next week. Take care.
See you next week.
You're in Larissa's good hands.
All right, great. I'm honored. Thank you.
Famous last words.
All right, so just